Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. Now, with a very fast-moving news day, everything's happening with Sir Weller and Michael Matheson and all that. There's a lot of stuff going on, but I have managed to get in and get something fantastic done in the middle of it. I've had a Zoom call with a big friend of the channel, Leslie Roberts, a big friend of everyone in Scotland, a woman who's worked tirelessly to push for the truth over COVID. Now, I did a video just the other day about potholes, and guess what? Guess who's leading the campaign against the problems with Scotland's roads? You guessed it, your friend and mine. It's Leslie Roberts. So I thought we need to speak to Leslie. So I've done a Zoom call today. It's going to come now. But before we just cut to it in a minute, but before I do, I will say I've had someone come up today and say that for 12 days on the trot, they've been automatically unsubscribed by YouTube. So do please check you are still subscribed. YouTube's getting a bit shady. It's because we're political. They don't like political channels. And it also helps really massively if you do subscribe. If you're someone who has been unsubscribed, please resubscribe. But if you've never subscribed, now's an excellent time. It really massively helps the channel. Also, like the video. That is a major help as well. Again, because political and the algorithm. Anyway, we're going to cut now to the Zoom call with Leslie. I hope you enjoy it. At the end, I will just come up and do the round off with it. But we go in here to see what she has to say on a matter of several subjects, as it turned out. But anyway, here goes. So I'm going to go. Right. Hi, Leslie. Long time since we've had you back on the shows. And it's very gracious of you to give you some of your valuable time to come and speak to us today. Now, I did a video just the other day about the big problems with potholes and generally road condition in Scotland. And I noticed when I was prepping it and I saw your name in it, and of course I did the big intro in the video to say that it's another fight that you're doing on behalf of Scotland. But I thought this was quite new, but apparently you've been at this for some time, haven't you?
Yes, about 6 years or so. Yep.
Wow. That's as well as all the stuff you're doing with all the medical stuff, with all the COVIDs.
Yep.
You must have
this
no
started
spare.
before.
You must have no spare time.
Not really, no, I don't.
So it's so what sort of started it off? Where did you get to sort of kick this into gear?
The constant damage to my car, the constant inability to drive safely anywhere, having to actually consider where you can go out at night, because is the road you're going to take, is it going to be covered in potholes? Am I going to get home safely? There's so many health and safety issues regarding potholes.
Well, yeah, I mean, especially at night, you don't have any idea they're there until boom, you've hit them, and then you've blown a tire or cracked a wheel even.
Exactly.
Yeah. Exactly. So it's been I know it's been a problem generally. Some roads are better than others, and some are awful. Where I happen to live, there's construction going over at the edge of the village, and that road you daren't go up. All these lorries coming down. It's like driving across a ploughed field, you know. So it's something that you got into. Now you set up this petition, didn't you?
Yep. Yes, I did. First of all, I set up a petition, which I done. I think it was change.org. And I submitted that with a considerable amount of signatures to it. And I found that no one would actually take that on board because it wasn't done properly. Apparently, if you are doing it to Holyrood, you have to tell them you are raising a petition. So I told them, they sent me the relevant paperwork, and I resubmitted it. So when I resubmitted it, I had basically copied the same amount of health and safety issues, road traffic issues, everything that I deemed was appropriate within that, to put that in. And they upheld my petition. So they're continually upholding it, but yet nothing's changing. So if they're agreeing with me that this is a health and safety issue, why is that been allowed to go?
Right. So by upholding, you mean they're agreeing that what you're saying in your petition is perfectly acceptable. It's okay. There's no issue with what you're saying. It's not contentious.
No.
And
what they're saying is,
and it's getting sufficient. It's getting sufficient signatories.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, as you said in your podcast the other day, was that Fergus Ewan was totally agreeing with me that some of the abysmal state of some of these roads.
Mhm.
Now, they just don't consider anything cyclists, pedestrians,
Yeah.
road users. And I mean, it's health and safety completely being ignored. And what they don't understand as well is when you're behind a car, you're behind a lethal weapon.
Mhm.
Now, the highway code has changed completely, which now gives pedestrians, they're number one. They have the
So
absolute
yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah.
Cyclists are number two. And after cyclists come your road users.
Mhm.
So what happens then if someone has stepped out, you hit a hole, you bounce literally, and you hit that pedestrian? You
Mhm.
could then be charged by, death behind the wheel, which is a section 1 of the Road Traffic Act,
Mhm.
1988, amended. You could be held, you could be held accountable for that when it's the actual condition of the road, which is
Would suggest would actually be the council's liability for not repairing it. You're driving on a road that should have been repaired,
yeah,
so could ultimately be the council's responsibility for the death of someone. But they're not going to admit liability, are they?
no,
No.
nobody admits liability. I mean, the holes in the roads are absolutely everywhere, and you're literally swerving and everything else. Now, again, as me as the ex-cop here, I'm going back to the Road Traffic Act, and I'm
Mhm.
saying that the road user should drive in line with the conditions of the
Mhm.
roads.
Yeah.
So that means you zigzag, because you have to avoid all these craters at all cost to save harm to you, your vehicle, and other road users. So how is that working in line with the Road Traffic Act? It's not working in line yet again
Yeah.
with the law.
No, I mean, you may even have to cross white lines to go round sufficiently large potholes.
Yes.
That could represent a danger for oncoming traffic or people coming out of junctions and things.
It's health and safety being completely yet again ignored. Now, the minute you wake up in the morning, you risk assess.
Mhm.
We all do it. We risk assess. We took the bed
Yeah.
covers off before we got up, make sure there's nothing on the floor we can slide on. We do it and we don't probably
No,
realise
that's
that we're risk assessing.
it's just instant,
It
isn't
just
it?
comes,
Yeah.
it's part and parcel.
Yeah.
So when you get behind a wheel, you must take that one step further and be completely switched on to
Mhm.
risk assessment, health and safety, the Road Traffic Act, um, all the different codes that you must adhere to, your highway code, whatever. Um, Even code of conduct, your own self code of conduct,
Mhm.
because you get a lot of drivers at Vickies and everything else and shouting and bawling. And I just
Oh,
think
yeah.
that we should all treat each other with, you know, kindness
Yeah.
if
A
we
number of
can.
times you're driving and you just, to put it bluntly, there's assholes on the road everywhere. You know.
Yes, who don't adhere to any of what I've just said, and they
No,
just
no.
run
Oh, we've
all
all
over.
we've all we've all been victims of them, and I think quite a
I
few
know,
people have actually been guilty of it from time to time as well. I'll put my hand up. I've sort of gone, I forget out of the way and overtaken someone who's been driving what I consider to be too slow. But I'm no saint. But we've all done it.
but are they being too slow because they're being aware of what could be on that road? Are they
Oh well, you
driving too
don't
slow
know.
because you don't know?
You don't
And
know.
I always take that into consideration because I don't drive fast. I used to. I don't now because I don't think it's safe to do so, because you don't know what's up ahead of the roads, and you
No.
could hit something at great speed
Hmm.
and end up, quite frankly, killing somebody.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, I drive a lot safer now because I'm getting old. But when I was young, I mean, when I was in the army, we were taught like high speed driving and pursuit driving and things. And I left the army and I was an awful driver simply because I still drove on the roads like I was in the army. And everyone said, "You're driving like a soldier." I was like, "Yeah, well, you know."
I know, but I think as well you've got to be extremely careful if it's raining, because you can get
Oh
into a
yeah.
puddle and not actually know what's in that puddle, and it could
I,
be an absolute crater
oh
of the
no, no,
moon.
I had an
Um,
incident. I got a car the other day, and I was going around a roundabout, and I'm not kidding. I was going really, really slowly, and the back end just went away really slow, 20 miles an hour, and I just felt it going. Now I saved it, I sort of eased off. But if I'd been going much 2, 3 miles enough, I'd have turned it. Another couple of miles an hour, I would have spun
exactly.
that car. and that was 20 miles an hour. It's ridiculous. Anyway,
That's a
how
bit, I
many?
mean,
I was going to say, how many people have signed the current? Come on, brain, you can do this. You know, I can't think of them.
petition.
Thank you, blimey. You know what? It's a Monday afternoon. My brain's giving up already. Yeah, how many have signed the current petition for this one?
I can't remember an exact number because this is the third time that we have addressed it in Holyrood, but it was thousands.
Right, it is
The
thousands.
original,
Yeah.
if I remember correctly, the original one was maybe 2,000 and something, and that was the Change.org one, which I swapped over to the. I'm not going to Holyrood, Follyrood, Bollyrood, whatever you want to call them. They basically. I had to change it over to theirs, but this is now continually. I mean, it was this time last year, it was upheld again. So
But
then they agreed at this point.
But they're just not taking it forward. They're
Nothing's
not
changing. No.
Yeah.
You know, that they're speaking to the police. Yes, there was fatalities because of the dangers on the roads. They spoke to the RAC, they spoke to the AA, and they're all saying,
I picked that up in the video.
yeah,
I said about they're talking to everyone, but they talk, but there's no action, there's no doing.
no accountability. Usual Scotland, no accountability whatsoever.
But the fight goes on.
It does, but at some point, I mean, when is somebody in this country actually going to be held accountable? Because you've got the transport minister. You know,
Fiona,
what are they doing? Are they been
what's her name? Fiona.
ferries?
Who's
Fiona Hislop?
Hislop? Yeah, we couldn't think of her name there. See her face. She's always got a permanent sneer, hasn't she?
Yes.
I don't know that's facial. She can't help it, but it just that look is just exactly how the whole of the SNP look at everyone, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, they're running up 11,000 Roman fees.
I've just launched another one that's going up if it hasn't already gone. I think his head's in the noose now. I think his time is running out. Craig Hoy has sent some pictures, sent some questions in, and I think that could be the end of him. But that's for another video. That's there. That's out there, folks. So go and have a look at that one. I will say there is something else that's happened this week, which I'm now that I've got you here, I'd just like to tap you for, which is of course the news that the Greater Glasgow and Clyde, the NHS Greater Glasgow and Clyde, and the Queen Elizabeth University Hospital are now looking as though they're on the hook for corporate homicide, not even corporate manslaughter now, corporate homicide. And I think that might be concentrating a few minds, wouldn't it?
I don't know if you read the article fully. I did, and I was somewhat shocked. Not shocked, that's not the right word. Nothing surprises me in Scotland anymore. However, the only outcome that can be had by this for an organisation is a fine.
Well, you can't put the hospital into prison, but the individuals can be charged, and so the board members, the senior managers can face charges, and I think that is key, because if others see these people going into prison for a substantial period of time, I think that will change everything. And it doesn't just stop at board members. It can go all the way up to the likes of Jean Freeman, Hamza Yousaf, whoever was health secretary over these periods. They're all liable. So we may not get them in prison, we may not get them in prison for COVID, but they could be in for that. And that, I think, would be some kind of justice.
I think personally that it should be both. I mean, what you're saying, about COVID is you're talking about mass issues with COVID. You're talking about unsafe masks. I don't call them PPE because they're not. Yeah. You're talking about the elderly getting discharged into care homes. Where you're talking about the Queen Elizabeth, you are talking, I don't know how many people died due to that, the issues within that building, or the contamination, or where it be, all the different infections.
In that piece, they were just talking about the cancer ward, and they said that there was 4 that they mentioned just in that piece, just in the cancer ward, plus whatever other areas of the hospital. Now, obviously, thanks to you, I've had people come on who dealt with the construction, and they were saying about dead pigeons in the AC. The water wasn't getting hot enough to beat Legionnaires. There was a fungal infection running all the way through the brickwork. So they knew from day one how awful it was, and yet they, instead of putting the money in and solving it, they went, no, just get the hospital closed. It'll be fine. Just get them open. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. And then the people started dying.
Well, look at Louise Lawrence. I noticed that Andrew, her husband, wasn't mentioned in that. I also noticed that Emily McDowell, who's another child who died, at that point was not mentioned. I also noticed that Professor John Cudahy, his daughter Molly, she was okay as such. She was still injured by what happened to her. All the ones that kind of gave information at the inquiry, Layla Green's mother as well. Layla died. She was only maybe about 3. So there was a lot of people who were not mentioned in that. And by looking at the ages, I kind of worked out who the people who they're actually talking about. But I think there'll be far more to come. When you then look at Tayside as well with the rogue surgeon, you've got
the brain boy. Yeah. I mean, he wasn't a surgeon, Leslie. He was a butcher. I mean,
exactly.
he went in to try and do, I can't remember the exact detail. It was something like to do a pituitary gland and took tear ducts out. I mean, I'm not a brain surgeon. I'm not a brain surgeon. I know the difference between them.
Well, yes. I mean, I think that the health board knew, Tayside Health Board obviously knew there was issues and allowed it to go on. So I agree wholeheartedly with Jules Rose to go to the police and basically deem it to be, it should be a criminal case. And the more people are now coming out.
There's so many things that should be criminal cases. The police you'd need to double the size of the police to sort out this.
Well, the thing is, there's never been a corporate homicide case.
No, not in Scotland.
Actually went through in Scotland.
No, first one.
I am hoping that the COVID one was. I think that there is enough information there, which I'll not go into, but you're always, you don't know.
No,
but I think the evidence was there.
I agree with you. Yeah. But there we go. Anyway, Leslie, listen, we're going to round that there because there's a million stories coming in today, and there's another one just come up about Cameron that I'd like to do as well. Can't believe Cameron, not even an MP, and he's now a foreign secretary. It's ridiculous. But we'll leave there. But I want to thank you very much for coming on, for giving me your time. Brilliant news about the potholes. Keep pushing that. Let's hope that goes. They'll probably do nothing, of course, but at least it's there and it's in the public domain.
Why are they elected politicians if they do nothing? They're in it for the gravy train.
Oh, they're in there.
And no wonder they're using
that.
Just as well, they're using the gravy train and not using the gravy bus in case they hit a pothole.
Hey. Yes. Otherwise, look, no, it could be a rail replacement gravy bus, though, couldn't it?
Absolutely.
Because the trains are rubbish as well. Although, I've got to give them, they have that request stop button now. I do like that on ScotRail. You don't have to put your hand out and try and stop the requests. They got a little button that connects to the driver, which I think is clever. Got to give them something. Anyway, what's your next challenge? What are you going? Who are you going after next, Leslie?
Well, do you know, I have been contacted. Obviously, I've got Scotland's ex-registered nurse page. I have now been contacted by copious, and I mean copious families who just don't know what to do about how the public sector is treating them, and it's just horrific that no one within a senior level at the public sector, no matter where you go, seems accountable. And then you have got all the kind of watchdogs who should hold them to account: the NMC, Nursing Midwifery Council, the Scottish Social Services Council. No matter who you report, go away. We're shutting the door. It's the same language. The This is not what you want to hear. We're not here to talk about this. Doors are closed. It is the same nonsense all the time. So I am hopeful that the more people are coming out now in the papers and saying, this is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
This, I think we have started this trend that everybody's saying, this
Excellent.
is wrong.
Yes.
We're
waking up. I think everybody's waking up.
Absolutely. And we need to waken up.
Well, whatever you want, you have free reign here. We will push whatever the message is. We do not care.
Thank you
because
very much.
we know we are on the side of angels.
I wouldn't quite say that.
Oh, you are. There's a lot of people think you're an angel.
Oh, I wouldn't say that. Try living with me. Don't think they're quite cool with that.
Well, I don't know, but I think I'm easy to live with. But if you'd have to ask my wife, and she'd say,
I'm certainly not easy to live with. Certainly not. And this has, despite the fact that, I've watched my mum die. I've watched everything that I loved really I've lost through COVID. My job, my mum, my union role, my car, kaboom, and I don't think I'm easy to live with. So I apologise for that.
I think you're marvellous. And I think that the fact of everything you've gone through, you're still standing, you're still fighting, and you've still got more balls than just about anyone else in Holyrood.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah. Leslie, thank you very much for joining us. We'll speak again soon.
Thank you.
And I'll let you go, and goodbye.
Brilliant. Speak soon. Bye-bye. Bye all.
And we're off. So a big thank you to Leslie for coming on the show, for giving us a wonderful time. I do enjoy talking to Leslie. She's always full of enthusiasm for everything she does. She is someone who rightfully is she's a tiny ball of power, basically. She's someone who I think, if she ever decided to go into politics, would wipe the floor with any of those useless tossers up at Holyrood, and somebody ought to sort of put her up and make a stand as an independent. I don't think any party could handle her. But there we go. Anyway, I shall round off there because we've still got a load of stories to do. As I say, it's a fast-moving day. And there's plenty more. But I want to thank you all for watching. Ask you, do please hit the like button because it really absolutely helps. And do leave a comment. And we wish Leslie the very best. Thank you very much, Leslie. Thank you very much to you, good viewer. And I shall see you later. Goodbye.